The performance shop stuff is interesting too because, at Bradenton Performance Supply.
Yep.
And it's crazy the commitment that guy, like, shout out to them. Committing to stocking parts like that at a brick and mortar store is so awesome to see. It's just like, and he stocks a ton of motion stuff.
Yeah, they're great people there, and I try to post as much as I can about them. Like, when races are here, if you're ever at Bradenton Motorsports Park, these people are literally a few miles down the road, and you'd be blown away at how much stuff they have. And yeah, like you said, it's a labor of love because it's not a super lucrative thing because, again, back to the corporate douchebags, when they buy these companies, they take these distributor margins and knock them down to skin and bones.
Yeah.
And those people are the ones that get affected because the big warehouses have buying power and leverage and still probably get those big discounts. But these guys are just beat up over it, and luckily they love what they do.
You have to stock the parts.
Yep.
So you have to have them because if people come in and they're like, oh, you got this? No, and then they just don't buy it.
Yeah, because they just get on their phone and buy it before they get back to their house and it's there the next day.
Yeah, and I feel bad because, of course, we're all guilty of doing that. Because
we are, but at the same point, Dave over there has saved my life, my day, my race numerous times because he had this fitting. He had, a CO2 bottle refill station. He had fuel.
That's where it gets really important.
Yep.
The fuel, tire, CO2, nitrous, that stuff, like the
margins suck.
Orderable.
Margins suck on those things too. So it's like we have to do a better job. All of us across the country. If you have a good speed shop like Westgate, there's a shop that has golden retrievers up in the Northeast. Like, just go there. Like, I tell people all the time too. I'm like, order your motion parts through those guys, because then when you need a replacement someday, they have it. So
it's nice ordering from someone like that too, because then like it's the same with like ECUs. Like I always try to tell people order through like somebody like Induction, because then if you need anything, you have a direct line to like Induction Performance. They'll sell you any ECU.
Yep.
Buy through them, and then you have like this buffer where you don't have to fight with the company in case anything goes wrong.
No, because guys like Victor and Alpha, they have the direct connection to the guy at the place. So you make one phone call to them, they make one phone call to their person when it's a complicated issue.
Especially like a turbo or something where like, it's not the funnest to like figure out turbo stuff.
Yeah, and oftentimes the people at the companies don't necessarily know either.
I mean, especially on like a 2J, it's like, oh, how much power can I make on a 68, 70? There's few people that really know that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And there's so many combinations you couldn't expect the people on the other end of the line to know every single thing.
Yeah.
If they do, kudos to them.
But I think we have a rise in the small brands making more and more parts. And maybe that's because CNC has become so, like CNC machines and people that operate them have become so readily available.
Well, the other benefit, too, is back to corporate douchebaggery. I'm going to trademark that term.
I like that, yeah.
You think that's taken already? Or
I know a guy with trademark stuff.
I also call them penny loafer wearers. They've moved these products to China, Taiwan, or wherever, good, bad, or otherwise. They've reduced their cost, and sometimes they can keep the quality, but a lot of times they don't. But these money-hungry people keep saying, 7% increase this year, 5%, 10%, 5%. And before you know it, like they've priced themselves out of the market, and this guy's like, I could buy a CNC and make that part.
Yeah.
And man, their price used to be really cheap, but now it's really high. Like some of those imported shifters cost as much as ours now. Like they used to be like, literally I remember buying B&M ratchet shifter for like $178 one time. I think they're like $500 now. Well, it makes it easier to sell a operator, which is all billet, made here for $600 or whatever, $699. So there's not that much of a spread anymore. So I think it's empowered people to do that.
Absolutely, and it's nice to see because having a level playing field is kind of the goal. Yep. And if China can somehow make a better shifter, by all means give it a try.
Yep.
But it's unlikely, and you're not going to get any support. So you kind of know you're buying into the abyss in a way. You just kind of have
Well,
to
there's just not that like good, comfortable feeling anymore. Like you can just hear people say it, and I'm the same way. I'm like, oh, I've been bit by this before. This part really matters. I'm just going to buy it from Victor. Or I'm going to buy it from, somebody that I trust or Motion or whatever. Like
the other flip side is like, who has it in stock? Oh, yeah. I cannot stand companies that pretend to have things in stock, and that is a plague.
Oh yeah.
That needs to be ended.
Oh yeah,
you cannot sell things out of your basement on a speed shop and not actually have anything in stock. That doesn't fly.
Yeah, well, you can do it, but you can't misrepresent it. Like, just be honest. It's very frustrating. Yeah, when you want something and you're like 6 days later after you bought it and you kind of forgot about it, it ships. You're like, oh my gosh, I needed this today.
Well, racing's a very last minute thing for me, at least. Like
I just slam that overnight button.
Yeah.
Every time because I'm like, oh, I don't know when I can work on it, especially with a new baby. You know,
that's true. Congrats, you have a new baby as well since we've last talked. And
yeah, just when I have 10 minutes to go work on it, that's when I'm going to work on it.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Bogetti Clips YouTube channel. For the full podcast, check us out on Bogetti Studios YouTube and all your audio platforms. Also, hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any of the new Bogetti clips coming up.